Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby Supply. I'm going to do a little video showing you a couple things. A couple things I got that Robin got me for Christmas, and something that I haven't done for a while, and just a couple of tips. And it's all about basically about painting. Show you around this room here a little bit. I don't know if I don't recall whether I've shown you this room or not. But anyway, as usual, let's get with it. Okay, everybody, we'll give you a little view of the room first. We have a lot of our casting materials up here. Little diorama for taking photographs. Some pictures here. This is a locomotive I'm going to be working on soon. This is a pencil drawing by a gentleman called, his name is Chad Zentz. Very good artist. Made that for me. Our cover on Microtrain's product guide in 2014. And a New York Central locomotive that I had when I was doing HO in here. Anyways, we won't get into all this crap. My baseball glove. Gavin's going to try building that depot kit there. Let's start out here. Well, let's go down here. And there's a lot of casting things, and our used stuff is in here. My programming computer and programming track are in here, which you've seen before, I'm pretty sure. And my models and model cars. Robin has a lot of miniature doll molds for ceramic dolls. And a few pictures of this idiot making this video here. This was 150 years ago when I had an HO module rather. And this is a gentleman that I inherited all my tools and tool bench from, who passed away. Carl Werler, that was his train when the newspaper did the article. This particular train here, in this Model Railroad magazine, I drove that train once. They allowed me to drive it up into the Santa Rita mine, not with that many cars, but anyway, I did that. There's a locomotive that I drove. That's the actual locomotive I drove in that little tiny picture right there. And this is my radio control boats when the newspaper came to do an article on a guy and I doing our, let me get over the tripod here, doing our radio control boats. I'm kind of got a glare on there, I guess. But anyway, that sailboat is about 6 feet tall, and a tugboat is about 4 feet long. But they're up in the attic, and they're living there right now. But anyway, let's get into what this video is all about. Okay, for Christmas, Robin got me this Badger Crescendo airbrush. The regulator, the pressure regulator, the pressure gauge, the hose, and let's see, this spray booth, which is a Micromark, and I think you guys have probably seen a lot of reviews on this one on YouTube. I find that it works extremely well for what I'm doing. It comes with a turntable. I had a little turntable. Another thing that I didn't get for Christmas, but I've had, and we'll get into in a little bit, is this paint mixer. And if I back up here, don't fall over anything, this little compressor, I told her I thought it would be sufficient for what I was going to do in here. It turns out it's, in most cases, guys that shoot, I don't know, maybe 15 pounds of air pressure, this would probably be good. I found that it wasn't sufficient enough to provide 24 pounds, which I found guys on YouTube that were saying was a recommended pressure for thinned craft acrylics. And I'll get into that in a minute. But I was trying to figure out how I could do this without buying another compressor. So, that being said, and once again, my tripod is in the way. Once again, I was thinking, well, what am I going to do? Do I have to go buy another compressor? I have a big compressor in the garage, and I got to thinking about it and looking at Harbor Freight's catalog, and I came up with this idea. I take this out in the garage and I pump this guy up. And I don't know, you can't see the gauge too well, but it'll pump up to 120 pounds. It's a 5-gallon air tank. And I thought, you know, I could pump it up and use it in here. I don't have to listen to a compressor in this little bitty room. And I don't have to drag out my 50-foot air hose to fill up the tires on the car. So, excuse me, I purchased this little tank for $29.99. They had it on sale. I bought the little red hose because they had a hose with a little air fitting on it that I couldn't hook anything to. So I adapted that to the little curly hose with a quick connect and a quick connect on the tank so I can use my air tools outside, going to the regulator and going to the airbrush. Okay, these are some of my older airbrushes, which, by the way, still work well. I've got the very basic old Badger. I've got a water trap, which I have got one over here. I have an air eraser, which I have never used. It was willed to me. I have this old Badger, which still works pretty well. And somewhere, and I don't know where it is, I'll have to dig it out. It might still be out in the garage. Oh no, I think it's on my workbench. But I have another Pache that I have used in the past. But what we're going to talk about today is the use of this little crescendo with a cup yesterday. And we're going to talk about what I mixed with what paint to actually accomplish the painting on this Walthers Sand Tower, which is going to be a Santa Fe prototype, so it is painted Maintenance Away silver, or ATSF silver. So let me get into the mixing of the paint and what I'm using. Okay, what I did first on this sand tower is I decided to give the old craft paints a try, and I was amazingly shocked at how well they sprayed once I started mixing it the way the guys on YouTube said to mix it. I put 1 part of this in this little mixing bottle, and I put 1 part, matching part, 1:1 of windshield washer fluid. And it doesn't have to be any special windshield washer fluid. I don't think I would use the Rain-X type because I think it has something in it. But any of the blue windshield washer fluid I think would work. The alcohol was strictly for cleaning purposes and not thinning purposes. One of the videos I watched said not to use 91%, to use 70%, because using the 91% makes the acrylics clot up, and so forth. And I have found that to be true. So the only reason the alcohol is here is for cleaning the airbrush. And I generally mix that 50-50 with water to clean the airbrush out with. The Q-tips are to put some of that same cleaning agent on, the alcohol and water, to clean the tip as you're working if you need it. I didn't happen to need it when I was working yesterday. The other thing is I have some of the black nitrile gloves out in the garage for mechanic work, but I decided to get these blue ones because guys are spraying on their hand or on the back of their hand with the glove on. Excuse me again, to test their color and test the thickness. So as I said, I mixed it 50-50 in this mixing bottle, and then everybody I saw mixed it by hand with a little stick or something of that nature. A few years ago, Robin bought me this. It's a Badger airbrush. It's an electric mixer, basically. You have to be careful with it, of course, and not pull it out of the jar when you're mixing. But it does an extremely good job of mixing paint. I use it all the time to mix anything I'm going to brush or anything, and all I ever do is just wipe off the end. I mean, if it gets paint on it, it gets paint on it, but the idea is for it to mix. But anyway, I used it in my bottle here to mix the windshield washer fluid and the acrylic paint, And then what I did is I sprayed both of the pieces here with it and gave them a primer coat with that gray color before I sprayed the silver. And you can, well, you can see the results of the silver, but let me talk about how I mixed the silver as well. Okay guys, once the base coat was on of the gray, the dark gray, I came back and did Polyscale ATSF Silver, which if any of you guys have ever used this, and of course probably only AT and SF guys, but nevertheless you can see in there that this stuff is like, I mean that paint is literally like water. And I thought, holy moly, I mixed it up. I did the same thing. I put 50-50 paint and the windshield washer fluid, and I thought, holy moly, when I looked at it, I thought it's way too thin. But when I started spraying it, it was actually doing real well. I was spraying about 6 inches from the model, and it was drying almost as fast as it was going on the surface, which in this case, in some cases is not good, but in this case was good because it kept the silver from running. And I got a real good texture of silver, and I've never been able to spray that silver right out of the bottle, and I have tried to spray it out of the bottle before, and I've never had any success with it, even though it was that thin. But anyway, I'm very, very impressed and wanted to pass on to you about using the windshield washer fluid. Don't ask me what's in it. There's guys out there that have done some videos on this that actually know what the ingredients are in there. You would think you would get a blue tint. There is no blue tint comes through on any paint, or at least that I've seen guys painting, of any paint that they've been spraying with it. I haven't gotten far enough, and we'll talk about it briefly. I haven't gotten far enough to use Future Floor Wax, is the agent that they use to gloss a finish. I wasn't necessarily looking for a gloss finish on this. The silver Polyscale seems to have some kind of a gloss medium in it, which makes it relatively glossy. I don't mind that. I'm going to weather it up anyway. But what I'm getting to is the Future Floor Wax, and you'll see 100 videos on that. And like I say, I haven't done it yet. But you mix that in 50-50 as a thinning agent and a gloss if you're going to paint a model car, or you want to paint a locomotive, even like engine black or something. Mix the Future in with it, and then you can apply your decals to that smooth surface, and then after you're done you can apply the matte finish. And I've seen it work very, very well on cars, on model cars. So it's got to work on trains. Okay, as I said, this is a Crescendo 175. It comes with 3 or 4 needles and tips. This happened to be the needle and tip that was in there. If I can get it to focus here. It looks relatively large to me, although I have to say that it sprayed very well. I don't know how fine it would spray. I just sprayed out these big patches here to test when the color was coming through. But it's a double action brush, of course, which means push down for air, back for paint. And I've gotten used to using one, and I like that control. Air first, and then back for, let me get a hold of it, air first and back for paint. And as you pull it back, you get more and more paint, and you eventually get the hang. You have a certain amount of air pressure, and you've got that all the time. You don't really control the air pressure other than on and off. As you pull the handle back, you get more and more air until you're all the way back, and you have, paint. You pull it all the way back, you've got maximum paint, and of course you go forward if you're getting too much paint. So you just kind of just move this back, and you've got it pushed down, but you're moving it back and forth if you're seeing you're getting too much or too little paint. And it works extremely well. I'm happy with this brush so far. I don't know if I would have had the same luck with my Pache. I'll probably bring it out here and paint something one of these days where I can compare the two brushes side by side. Just unscrew this one and screw the other one on. And a lot of guys are doing that too, by the way. They have multiple brushes for different purposes, and the hose just screws on to each individual one, or they can hook up each individual one to do what they're attempting to do at the time. But so far, I'm very happy with this. I'm going to hang it back up on my rack here. And it comes, this is how the tips come. I don't know what number tip that is. Haven't taken the time to learn the tip sizes. It not only comes with the cup, it comes with the bottle. It's a suction feed system. It comes with another tip inside this color bottle, color mixing bottle. You can see the other little bottle in there with the other tip. And I think somewhere there's another bottle, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, it's a good little. I like it so far. It's made in the U.S., by the way. So I guess that's about enough for what I did painting wise here. I'll try and get a close up here of what I painted and see how you guys like the finish, and then we'll go into the paint booth itself. Okay, here's the actual silver finish I wound up with on this tower. And I'm very happy with the surface and the coverage of the paint. And as you can see, it didn't go overboard in painting silver because I still have the kind of concrete color on the bases here, which I intend on doing by hand in concrete color. But I'm going to come back and do a wash on this of black and just do a little bit of weathering. And that'll probably be about it. By the way, I stuck these down to the turntable here with the Woodland Scenics accent glue so I can pull them up. And then I have the accent glue on the bottom of them so I can attach them down to the layout if needed. So anyway, that's the result, and now we'll get into the booth itself. Okay, this is the portable booth from Micromark. It has I believe it's a 12-volt cord here that goes down and plugs into electric. I have it plugged into this panel here so I can turn it on and off here instead of having to reach over the machine. The little power supply goes in this little box here. You've seen the videos on it, I'm sure. It has a little fan in the back, no vent to outside. However, I'm only interested in capturing the particulate matter. If I need to, I'll wear a mask in here. You can see that it's already captured a lot of the gray that I used for the primer and the silver. There's absolutely no mess after spraying inside the booth yet. The booth collapses down by folding. Let me back up. The booth collapses down by folding these in. I'm not going to collapse it down for you, but anyways, because you can see a video of these anywhere. But anyway, it all comes around. And anyway, it folds into a little package and has a handle on the top, and you can carry it wherever you want to go. And it's a self-contained unit. The filter comes out. The filters come out here from the back, and I didn't know how long the filters would last, so Robin bought me a package of 6 filters up there. And if need be, I could put some other type of material in there as a filter as well. A lot of guys are putting towels down in the bottom of the booth and then wetting them so that it attracts the any dirt down onto the wetted paper, so that you don't get dust particles and everything. But I'm in a pretty closed-in room here that stays pretty dust-free, so I don't worry about it very much. You can see that it's a kind of a semi-clear material, lets the light through. This is the light that I use to take my pictures. I have a daylight bulb in there, and I just move it from here to there, and I take pictures of my rolling stock and stuff there. And that's pretty much how it works in here. I've got a chair to sit in, but I prefer to stand up and paint because you're always moving. I really like the air tank so far. I think you could, once you put that up to 125 pounds, even though it's a small tank, I think you could do any large project that you wanted to without having to fill it, even running 24 pounds of pressure, which is what I've been running so far. I might adjust that depending on how I get results out of whatever I'm doing. I'm going to turn this on, and hopefully you can, excuse me again, hopefully you'll be able to hear this thing. It's pretty quiet, it's not too bad, but this room is totally closed off, so it'll probably be noisy in here, but here we go. And as you can see, it just sucks in, and I pull it out a little bit from the wall, but it just sucks air through here, obviously, and keeps you from breathing in all that particulate matter and keeps it from getting all over everything in the room. That's basically what I wanted. Like I said, if I had fumes, if I was using some kind of enamel or something, and I had fumes, I have a mask out in the garage that I would probably wear in here, so I didn't gag to death. But aside from that, it's a nice little unit. I love the airbrush. The tank works well, and I just wanted to show you all this assembled material here, just so you could try it out. But these are the particular things that work well. And any airbrush would probably work well. But these are just my initial thoughts and my initial test painting in the booth using the new brush. And I just thought I'd share it with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. Well, guys, I hope that helps you out. Like I say, I really haven't gotten way into this yet, and I'm definitely a beginner at spraying acrylics. As most of us model railroaders, you know, we used to do the flow quill, and got pretty proficient at that, and then they changed to acrylics. I'm just getting used to the acrylics, and like I said, I haven't gotten the future floor wax yet and given that a shot on the model cars or anything that you're going to apply decals to. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helped in some way, at least making decisions on what to purchase and so forth. And as usual, we'll see you the next time.